Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to the videos. A paid request this time from Michael 101591. He wanted me to do a commentary and then a review of War of the Worlds from 2005. Now, I just did the commentary, so figure he wanted the review in a separate video. Apologize for the background noise. It's fans and stuff because it's getting pretty hot around here in Texas. So I got the ceiling fans and stuff on. Also, for those interested, request any type of videos or topics, reactions, commentaries, whatever. It could be randomness, out of the blueness, whatever type of video. Feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. I also have a second YouTube channel in case anything happens. I'm also having stuff on Odysee, that website, which includes older videos, as well as these videos being archived. And War of the Worlds from 2005. This is a film that I did see in the theater back in the day. Back around from like 2003 to 2005, I was going to the theater, if not on a weekly basis, maybe every other week. At least in 2003, unless it had been 2004 and 2005, but I did see quite a few movies in the theaters. And being intrigued by this because Steven Spielberg and Tom Cruise. I like both. Spielberg, I love the Indiana Jones films. I like Jurassic Park. I love Jaws, one of my favorite films. I love Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Tom Cruise, good actor. Nowadays, I mean, from Edge of Tomorrow to a lot of the recent Mission Impossible films. In fact, a lot of the Mission Impossible films I like. I didn't mind Jerry Maguire. Edge of Tomorrow was my favorite of his. I even did not mind Oblivion. Top Gun I like. Top Gun Maverick I didn't mind. A Few Good Men. Collateral, I love Collateral. He's done a lot of good work. So they had worked together on Minority Report, which is a film I don't mind. And they decided to re-team again. Now, if we understand, during the release of the film, Spielberg said, I will never work with Tom Cruise again, mainly because of the Scientology stuff, and also that was when Tom Cruise, in promotion for the film, the whole incident with Oprah Winfrey and getting on the couch and, oh yeah, I'm in love, acted like a fool. And then apparently there's a doctor Spielberg knew that he recommended the Tom Cruise, but then the Scientologists tried to cancel before cancer was a thing in the doctor, and Spielberg didn't like that, so he's like, fuck this, I'm not working with Tom Cruise again. And they haven't. Now, I've seen the original 50s film. I know of the source material. When I saw this in the theater, I had not seen the original film. But I knew of the story. I knew of War of the Worlds. I knew about the Orson Welles radio play, and people thought it was a real event happening, and I had seen it referenced in movies. I don't know if Explorers with Joe Dante referenced it. There was a film called Spaced Invaders, a kid's film from back in the day, that did reference that, and they referenced that they died of germs, and so my knowledge of War of the Worlds was from other movies, including kids' movies like Spaced Invaders, which I didn't mention in the commentary, but I just remember that now. Now, the film did well when it came out in 2005. It was in the top 5 biggest hits of the year. I think it made around $600 or so million worldwide. It was like the 4th highest grossing film of the year. The films above it was one of the Harry Potter films, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and I think the first Chronicles of Narnia film of the series of movies. Now, this is a film that's really talked about much in Spielberg's filmography. Either they don't really talk about the film, or they don't remember the film, they don't bring the film up, or if they do, there's some that I like. Yeah, there's a lot more that's like, yeah, not for me. Watch it again, I would say I don't really give a lot of star ratings because I'm not good at it, because I always flip-flop. I probably give like maybe a 3 out of 5, at least. Because the story is pretty simple. It's an alien invasion film, which there's been plenty of them before and after. Whether it be Independence Day, whether it be Mars Attacks, whether it be afterward, Battle Los Angeles and Skyline, The Darkest Hour, even some of the Avengers movies are alien invasion films, and Transformer films technically are alien invasion films, and not only that, but then you have elements that seem like disaster movies, which Roland Emmerich had done The Day After Tomorrow in 2004, and would do films like Moonfall and such later on. And this is a movie that's definitely a special effects movie. It's a heavily special effects ILM. I thought did a pretty good job for the time in terms of effects. Yes, you watch it nowadays, you didn't notice the digital, heavy digital work. But I still think it definitely brought a sense of scale in terms of these big set pieces. It definitely, I do see people saying it doesn't have much of a plot. It's sort of a series of set pieces linked together. Tom Cruise stars in it. He's a guy who's divorced, and he's not really good at taking care of his kids. His ex-wife drops the 2 kids off, and they don't want to be there, and he's a guy that's pretty much a deadbeat dad. You have the older son, I forget his name, but he played Goku in that Dragon Ball Evolution movie. I'm like, why is this white guy playing Goku? I don't know. And then Dakota Fanning, which, I mean, at this time, she was in Man on Fire with Denzel Washington, that awful Robert De Niro movie, Hide and Seek. A few years before, she was in that Sean Penn film, I Am Sam. Later on, she would do, like, big roles in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I think she was in some of the Twilight movies. But I thought she was a good child actress. A lot of people find her annoying in this. I can understand, there's streaming here and there. But on one hand, I can understand it with the circumstances happening. I do think she's, like I said, a good child actress. I think for what she was given, she did as well as any kid could have. So, I give her leeway on the streaming. And again, she was talented. Didn't really care about the older kid, Robbie, the older teen son. Thought he was annoying as hell. I wish he wasn't in the movie. I think if you just did not have him in the movie, you actually would have improved it a lot more. Especially when we get to the ending, for fuck's sake. But anyway, the 3 of them are hanging out. Tom Cruise goes out for a bit, and there's lightning strikes happening, and what's going on. When we get to, 10, 15 minutes in, and the aliens, I guess they teleport through they travel through the lightning, ride the lightning, not Metallica style, through the fucking ground. And the machines are buried under the ground. The reason for that is Spielberg didn't want the typical, they come from space and the ships land, and he wanted to do it differently. Granted, it does offer a lot of questions as to, okay, these machines were buried for what, millions of years? Well, why didn't aliens try to take over the world at that time then, when they buried the shit in the first place? Why did they wait? Why didn't they try to terraform at that point? Okay, they know their machines are down there. Wouldn't they once in a while want to make sure that their machines still work? What if they went down there and, oh shit, machines don't work anymore? You fucked up, yeah. So wouldn't they be able to notice the microbes and germs and such? But maybe not. But okay, I mean, yeah, it does offer some questions, but some nice visual set pieces. There's an earthquake, buildings are breaking apart, and the tripods, the aliens come out in these ships, and they're vaporizing people, and they turn to ash. And there's a definite violent, dark streak to this movie, which I find ironic because Spielberg complains so much about Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom. It's too dark. You're fucking having aliens zap people, turn them into dust and ash. There's literally a bit later on where the aliens are killing humans, sucking up their blood and tissue, the blood, and spraying it on the fields, so the fields, painting the town red literally for this vegetation. So it's a bloody red field, and you want to say Temple of Doom is too dark? Okay, how's that? Whatever. I guess for him, too dark for Indiana Jones. I'm like, Raiders of the Lost Ark had people's faces melting and exploding. Bella, scanner style, but okay, whatever. Now, there are a lot of conveniences in this, like the way Tom Cruise is running, and like every person around him, zap, 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 except him. I mean, it's literal plot armor. Like, that happens in a lot of other movies. I could deal with it, but here is like even more so. Where like everywhere he runs, if there's 3 people around, and not him. If there's 2 people, and not him. And throughout the film, there's a bit of convenience here and there. For example, when he gets to his kids and they get to a place and they gotta stay there the night, and there's an explosion the next morning, they see that a plane has crashed. Lo and behold, the people there is a news crew team, TV news crew, that's able to which their vehicles work. Because that's the thing, is that there's an EMP and most vehicles don't work, except Tom Cruise gets the one vehicle, is able to do some stuff in order to make it work, so he has the one working vehicle in the whole city. Why? No one else, I just thought of this. And thankfully, he gets a... When I get to that scene with the plane that crashed, the fact that the people there is a crew of TV news people that's able to tell Tom Cruise the exposition he needs in order, these are the aliens, and they came from under, and that's what they looked like, and, well, thank God it was you and not some one who worked at Taco Bell or Dairy Queen or worked at the Tractor Supply or something else. Thank God for that. Or, there's a bit where his daughter gets taken, and thankfully there's a Humvee with grenades. And grenades happen to be there. Which he definitely needs, otherwise he's shit out of luck. So a lot of times there's a bit of convenience here and there. Like, well, how lucky are you that that happened? Tom Cruise I liked as an actor. Like, I think for what he's given, I don't think he's doing a bad job. But the initial reaction is he's not a likable character. Now, but that's the point. The point is that he's a deadbeat dad, and throughout the journey, he grows to protect his kid, Dakota Fanning, and have to do whatever he can to protect her, and be the protector, and be the father. So, I mean, that's the whole damn point. It's just that Tom Cruise, he did seem to be a bit prickish at the beginning. Plus, I don't know if he was the best choice for a blue-collar type of character, because he's such a good-looking guy with the $1 million smile. I don't think, if it was Peter Weller or James Woods or Dennis Quaid, who was in Day After Tomorrow year before, or I don't know who... Gene Hackman would be too old. But I'd just say like other like blue collar type of actors at that time. Thomas Jane. Because he did The Punisher in 2004. Like Thomas Jane would have been a good choice. That would have been cool to see. And a good opportunity. Like Thomas Jane. I like Tom Cruise is not bad, it's just there's other people I could buy a bit more as the blue collar type of guy. Let's say Dakota Fanning, I know a lot of people have problems with her. I could deal with her for... But I said the... Robbie... I wish it was Robbie the fucking robot. He would have been more likable than this fucking kid. He just... An annoying twerp that you wanted to step on like a bug. Just... useless, pointless... family drivel... And then it gets to a point where... he just is gung-ho about joining the military and gung-ho... we need to go join them because we need to kick their ass, or whatever the hell he's saying. And then it gets to a point later on, I don't know, like 30, 40 minutes in, where there's this big battle happening on this hill, and it's a mission that's going to get himself killed. And Tom Cruise is stopping him, and he's like, no, I need to do this. I need to see for myself. I need to do this. I'm sitting there going, why, Robbie? Why do you need to see this? Why do you need to do this? What is the fucking explanation? What is the course of action? What is your fucking malfunction, buddy? Your major malfunction. I'm thinking as an audience member, let him fucking go. Let him get his ass roasted and vaporized. Which that is another weird thing, is that people get vaporized, and the vaporized stuff can destroy buildings and people turn to ash, but not their clothes. I don't know why all the time, like, the people's clothes are left behind. It's like, just again, they can destroy the buildings, they destroy bone and everything else, flesh, but clothes, poof, they fly away in the wind. Again, obviously it was a choice, directorial choice as a visual aid to show, I don't know, a bit of the, this is what's left of them. But yeah, it does make you question, well, why aren't the clothes vaporized? Why doesn't the vaporization of clothes happen in the movie? I don't know. I can't explain it. But yeah, Robbie's a fucking twat waffle twerp of a character. Terrible character. Annoying character. Irritating character. But the first 40-some minutes of the movie, I still am enjoying as the spectacle, the special effects, not minding Tom and Dakota Fanning's acting, the set pieces, the way Spielberg shoots some sequences, which may go underappreciated. Like, when the initial attack happens and he gets his kids and he's driving, Spielberg does this thing where he's shooting and he'll pull back and they're going through traffic, but then push in and the characters are talking, but without cutting, he's going in this circle of the characters. At points he pushes the camera back, or pulls the camera back to see him swerving through traffic, and then push in again without cutting. Now obviously digital effects were worked into it as well, but that was still like a nice looking shot. Certain angles and certain camera movements, and I thought there was some pretty capable directorial points by Spielberg in this. Some of the camera shots in the initial eruption from the ground, and you see these tripods and what they look like, and like I said, you definitely get some very heavy duty CGI work that nowadays seem typical. Like nowadays, you would see this in countless, Roland Emmerich films, Michael Bay films, of Transformers, big disaster movies, people running, big CGI everywhere in the back. I didn't mind that it was told in the peripheral status where it's following this one family. As well, why don't we cut to this city? Why don't we cut to this country? Well, I mean, I could see that in films like Independence Day, so this made it a little bit different. Sometimes, like, they have the scene where, again, the EMP takes down electricity so some people can't drive. But sometimes I didn't understand exactly how that all worked. Like, there's a bit, and I know I'm going all over the place, but it's trying to be a bit parable on 9/11. And how when you're distraught and what you don't want to do and you don't feel safe and you're just trying to survive, and you have some people that just care about their own well-being. For example, they have the only working vehicle and a whole swarm of people rock it and throw them out and pull a gun on them and take it. And then there's even good, where later on, when Tom Cruise is in one of the tripod mechanisms with grenades, thankfully that he has, and thankfully that he found, again, very convenient, He's getting sucked in, but you have one, then two, then three people, four more pulling Tom Cruise down and helping him out. So you see the good and the bad. At least there's a bit of a balance there. But I just see people being that shitty. I mean, hell, a few years ago we had people fighting over toilet paper. I mean, if people were willing to fight over toilet paper without a fucking alien invasion, then yeah, there'd be people fighting over a working vehicle. I'm just thinking, like, why is this the only working vehicle? Nobody else thought this what Tom Cruise thought and did that. Also, if this area where all these people walking had the EMP thing, how come when Tom Cruise goes to the diner, there's like a sign that's like blinking neon on the diner? There's like they go in a diner, there's like a scene that has electricity. So if that has electricity, how come doesn't other things have electricity maybe? Or did it just affect some place? Again, I don't know. Some questions I have. But again, not minding the spectacle for the most part. There's some set pieces, like in the initial attack. The bit with the ferry on the Hudson River, where it gets pushed over, they fall into the water, and all these cars are falling on them, and they gotta dodge out of the way. And at one point, they're in front of a car that's being pushed, and you have these poor people trapped in the damn car, while Tom has to get his kids out of the way. Again, Robbie is a fucking idiot, and then you get to a point where the movie just fucking stops and dies for a bit. I say 40 minutes in, but it might have been a bit longer, actually. So, actually, it's a bit further in. I think what I meant is that there's 40 minutes left of the movie. Because, yeah, there was 40 minutes left in the movie. So that would have been about an hour and 20 minutes in. Because actually, you got the whole basements subplot with Tim Robbins, where he's this demented, deranged ambulance driver, and he's hiding, and Tom and Dakota Fanning are hiding there. And this scene feels like it goes on forever, and it does for like 20-25 minutes. I even remember in the theater, like, this just killed any momentum. Just as the thing, it's like, for a good chunk of it, the movie's going so fast, so I can't say it was boring, far from it. From, okay, this is, yeah, Morgan Freeman narrating the film at the beginning and the end. Morgan Freeman, who worked with Spielberg on Amistad, great choice. Either that or James Earl Jones. That's like how you get to narrate your movie. So, that's a good choice. So you go from that to meeting Tom Cruise in them. Maybe not a whole lot of character development, to be fair, like depthness, but, you know, there's improvements to be made. Like I said, the initial attack and Tom's escape, and again, them driving, and Dakota keeps screaming, and that can be a bit annoying. But granted, with the situation, I can't understand what's going on, but you know, I just see both sides of that argument. And then, let's say you get the bit with the airplane that even though it's a peripheral and it's showing just his family, how they get through and survive during this war, there's a bit steel to it. Like when they go out and you see the remnants of the airplane and pieces of it like on the side, and Tom Cruise sees some people either doesn't know if they're from the plane or they're just stealing some shit. So there's still a sense of steel to it. And I didn't mind seeing that set design wise. And again, effects by OLM, I think for the time, pretty damn good. I wasn't big on the cinematography though. Like the look of the film, I don't know, it had this filtered, I don't want to say bleached out, but some kind of filtered way where it just didn't look natural. It looked off kilter. I don't know how else to explain it. Where it just has this filter look. It just wasn't appealing to me. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's like I don't know what they were trying to go for. It's like this just doesn't look. They weren't going for a natural look. It was just something off kilter. I don't know how else to explain it. But I wasn't really big on the look of it. It was more distracting than anything. But yeah, it goes at a pretty fast pace until it gets to that basement scene, and the movie just stalls. Because I don't think Tim Robbins was that good in the role, and I love Tim Robbins. Loved him in the 1990 Jacob's Ladder film, Cadillac Man, Ronald Williams. But he was just annoying. He was just either being deranged or a little bit of mice and men. Can I pet the rabbits? Like that type of mentality, and just being crazy and weird theories. And I just like, why do we need this character in it? I don't care if him or an amalgamation of him was in the novel, or I don't give a shit. It just wasn't that interesting. I don't think it was that. I think he was one of the weaker, not the weakest, but what I would give to that Robbie crappy character. But none of that was that interesting. It just felt it went on too long, interminable. I mean, it's like 20, 25 minutes. It's a good chunk of the movie. And I get it. The sentiment of you've had all these big, massive set pieces, so they want to have a claustrophobic, one location, try to build suspense where drones come in, or probes, I should say, probes come in, they're hiding. Which just remind me of bits of Jurassic Park. Like, it would have been raptors instead. And I just wasn't as suspenseful. Tom having to fight with Tim Robbins because he wants to blow him away, and with a shotgun has blah blah blah. It's really just there, I guess, spoiler alert, to get to the point where Tim will shut the hell up, so Tom Cruise has to kill him to protect his daughter. But I mean, there's other quicker ways you could have done that and really helped the pacing of the film. Just after that, then the film does get back into a bit of satisfaction. I like the bits. My favorite bit is the idea of the bloody landscape of the fields. I think that was a very creepy, eerie image where Tom Cruise is able to get out looking for his daughter, and he sees just how widespread the field of, just how bloody all these fields are. And again, the scale of it, it just felt, I do just a creepy visual image. I'm like, wow, okay. In a way, it's pretty damn violent. It's a lot of fucking blood for a Spielberg movie. Ever since, Temple of Doom. Ripping our hearts. Oomside, oomside. Now, a lot of people don't like the way it ends. It never bothered me, because Tom Cruise just to do some heroics, which some people don't like. I do, because I like Tom Cruise. I like him doing heroic stuff. So he's like cutting a drone, a probe with an axe. His daughter gets taken. He finds grenades, thankfully, conveniently. He gets himself picked up. There's survivors there. He's able to throw some grenades up, and the other people pull him down. They prep themselves. It blows up. He's able to blow up the ship. They get to their destination, Boston. There's ships there, or tripods, but they're withering. I do find it funny that there's a bit where these tripods usually have shields, but Tom Cruise notices that there's birds on them. But the fact that he fucking has to tell, like, all these military guys, I can't hear you. Look at your goddamn birds. So first off, like none of the military can notice that, and then they look and go, almost like, "What's your point?" The Okay, Dudley Brothers, Deputy Dumbass, Beetle Bailey. It means the fucking shields aren't there, so you can shoot the shit out of it. Oh, okay, Gomer Pyle. Finally, they're able to fucking group of Gomer Piles shoot the damn thing. Like, you had to take I mean, what was Tom Cruise? A longshoreman, dock worker, whatever. Like, it had to take him to fucking notice all that. And you don't get it? Let me spell it out for you, dumbass. So I was like, okay. I thought that was a bit funny, especially watching it again. But they're able to blow it up. Again, I don't mind the effects and the scale, how big and giant it is compared to the humans. And, the aliens die off because of microbes, because of germs. A lot of people find that to be anticlimactic, unsatisfying. And it didn't bother me because I knew going in that's what it would be. Because again, I knew of the source material, I knew there would be germs, kind of just waiting for that to happen. But for those who didn't know about it, they're like, what the fuck, germs? And then I would go, well, how else would you end it? I mean, would you just cut to a military guy going, blow shit up? Like, maybe some people wanted a downbeat ending. I don't know. My issue with the ending is that he gets his Dakota Fanning to his ex-wife and her hubby and such. And fucking Robbie just happens to be there. Because the last time we saw him, he went over a hill, and literally 10 seconds later, the whole fucking landscape was in a wall of fire. And a huge fucking alien ship crossed over. How the fuck did Robbie survive that? Somehow Robbie survived this fucking mile-long thing of fire. And was able to get to Boston before you fucking people did. It felt like out of the blue, gotta have a happy ending, which just don't have Robbie in it in the fucking first place. He didn't really bring anything worth a shit to the table because he just hated his dad. Then I didn't know those military guys would do something, such shit. Be more irritating. And then Tom Cruise has to let him go, and he goes up the hill, and we think he's dead, and then he's gone for the next fucking almost 40 fucking minutes of the movie. Just don't have that character in the first place. John Williams does a competent, pretty decent job on the score. I mean, it's not as classic, Jaws, Indiana Jones, stuff of that nature. At least it feels a bit different. He's trying to have a bit, sometimes moody, eerie points of the score for some of the darker material. So I thought it was an interesting change of pace for John Williams. Like I say, it's not highlight. I can't think of very memorable tracks, but it's still nice change of pace for John Williams. And overall, yeah, War of the Worlds I thought was a entertainingly enough time waster for its set piece filled special effects moments. Liking Tom Cruise as an actor, thinking Dakota Fanning was a good child actress. Some of the more violent, visceral, not visceral, that's the wrong word, but some of the more darker elements like the whole blood field was stuck in my head ever since I saw it back in 2005. Like, ooh, shit. That's a nice visual, okay. Even back then that was imprinted in my head, so sparked something. I didn't love stuff like having Morgan Freeman narrate the end and close. That's always good to have Morgan Freeman in there. Just the whole Tim Robbins subplot of the basement I thought was overlong, overcooked. irritating. Tim Robbins' character was irritating. Wish the whole thing was cut out of the movie. Robbie, fuck Robbie. I wish it was Robbie the robot instead. They had a lot of convenient moments. Maybe when you watch it now, the 2005 effects don't hold up as well compared to 2023. But it was a movie of its time, so I'm not, compared to other movies, I'm not that angry on the effects work on this. Like I said, Tom Cruise, like I said, it's not the guy, the first choice I would choose for blue collar guy. And I like to say he does, for the purpose of the story, he still comes off pretty prickish and not the most likable at the beginning. And it's like, okay. But like I said, I do think there are moments he does a good job showcasing his range of emotions that the character's going through as a guy that just doesn't know what to do, and he's in over his head and just ready to lose it. And I think Tom does well in those instances. I can't sit here and say I don't think he gave a bad performance at all. Overall, yeah, didn't mind it. Didn't mean for this to go for so long, but it is what it is. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.